Good morning, Math Wizards. I am excited to work with you today. So today you're just going to need a pencil and your worksheet to complete our work, okay? We're going to go over our lesson from yesterday. So we have already worked on how to, yesterday we worked on decomposing. So when we decompose, what does that mean? It means to break apart. So when something decomposes, it breaks apart. So you start with the whole number, right? The whole number, and then you break it into group 1 and group 2, which we know that that's group 1 plus group 2. So we're going to look at and practice doing that today. I'm going to go ahead and say it so we get it out of the way today. We are working on decomposing 6, 7. All right, move on. It's over. So make sure you have your worksheet, you have a pencil. This is where we are starting from. We always start with the side of the paper that has this box here with the review. It reviews the lesson with you, and then we go through our practice. So first thing I do is always the same. I pick up my pencil and write my name. So I'm going to write my name. You should write your name on your paper. All right, there is my name. Remember, anytime during this lesson, if you need a little bit extra time to finish it, pause it. Make sure you're following along. I have some friends who are turning this in or coming to me at the end, and we've done these together. I have written it myself on the paper, and they haven't completed this. You should have all of this completed. I do it with you, and then when we get to the last problem, I expect you to do it on your own. Remember, this is the lesson that we have already learned. This is additional practice. So we have already learned in small groups or in whole group. This is just extra practice on what we've already done. So let's look at it. So when we break apart a number, we start with all of the objects first. So in this case, we've got some peaches here. How do we decompose 7? So there's 7 peaches here. How many can go in this box? How many can go in that box? So group 1 and group 2. So if I drew lines, I could draw a line. There's 2 go there, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, we see we can only use 7. So I shouldn't have the number 7 over here and then the number 7 over here. We don't have that many peaches. There's only 7. You have to break them into how many can go in the group, all right? Over here, they show us a different way. So here are groups for 2 and 5. This picture shows with lemons, you can also decompose 7 into 3 and 4. Group 1 plus group 2. All right, remember your equation has the numbers and the symbols. So Gus the plus or Linus the minus, which today we're working with Gus the plus, and Ella the equal sign. You need to make sure you're paying attention and you know where those signs go in the equation. If you're not writing them in the right place, then you're going to get it wrong. Okay? Even if your numbers are right, but you have the equal sign in the wrong place, the equation is wrong. All right, so let's look down here at number 1. These are peppers. How can you decompose 6? So we're going to break apart 6 into 2 groups. So I have 6 peppers up here. So I'm going to start by drawing my counters here. Actually, and I'm going to use circles. I'm going to circle groups just to make it easier for myself here. So with 6, I'm going to circle. And then I'm going to circle over here. And look, I made like a little bit of an accident here. I kind of drew my circle a little too far. So I'm going to erase it just so it's easier for me to see because everybody makes mistakes and it's okay. But what's important is that we're able to go back and make corrections. We can fix it. All right, so let's look at it. So I drew 2 circles here. How many's in my first group? Make sure you've drawn a circle to make 2 groups. 1, 2, 3. So my first group has 3. My second group has 1, 2, 3. I'm going to write the number 3. All right, so 3 and 3. So let's fit it into our equation. When we are working with decomposing a number, we start with the big number and break it into 2 groups. And I know my groups are group 1 plus group 2. So we look for that plus sign and know that's where my groups go. Group 1 plus group 2. My group 1 has what? Stop. 3. So I'm going to write 3 around the tree, around the tree. That's how we make a 3. It's not the prettiest 3. That's okay. Plus group 2 has 3. So I'm going to write 3. All right. You can go open it. Now we're going to decompose 7. How can you decompose 7? We have 7 eggplants up here. We're going to draw circles to make our groups. Now remember, when you're drawing circles to decompose objects, you need to make sure that you are only making 2 circles. And in those 2 circles, you're using all of the objects. So I shouldn't have 5 circles circled here. Do we have 5 groups? No, we break it into 2 groups that we add together. So let's go ahead and draw our circles. Also, I should not have circles. Do not do this part. I should not have circles like this. Did I circle and use all 7 of the eggplants? No, I did not. I just circled random eggplants. That's not how we break apart 7. All right, so let's draw our circles. I'm going to draw my circle around this group here, and then my group 2 circle is going to be here. Okay, make sure you have your circles. Let's count how many is in group 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to write that in my group 1 box, and then 1, 2, 3. Write that in my group 2 box. Okay. So we start with our big number because we're breaking it apart. 7 equals group 1 plus group 2. Group 1 is 4. Group 2 is 3. All right, make sure you have those done, friends. And then let's flip it over. All right. Okay, so now we're going to work on drawing our own pictures and decomposing it, okay? So how can you decompose 7? I'm going to draw counters. It asks us to draw connecting cubes, but I just think counters are an easier way to go. So draw counters to show 2 different ways to break apart 7. So remember, when I ask for 2 different ways, I want 2 sets of numbers here. I don't want you to tell me this 7 equals 3 plus 4 and 7 equals 4 plus 3. Those are the same numbers. I want different groups. So let's see what that looks like. How can we break apart 7? So I'm going to draw 7 counters, and then I'm going to break it into my group 1 and group 2. So right above this equation, I'm going to nice and neatly draw my counters. If I just draw them really big or I don't put them in a line or an order, it can be very hard to go back and draw our circles to make our groups and to keep track of what we did here to finish our equation. So as math wizards, we're going to do our best work here. Let's draw our counters. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, so I've got 7 counters. I'm going to draw circles, or you can draw a line if you like to draw a line to separate your groups. I'm going to draw circles. We're going to draw circles to make 2 groups. So I'm going to draw circles around this group, draw a circle around this group. So I made group 1 circle, group 2 circle. Notice all of my counters are in a group. I didn't leave any counters out, right? We need to use all 7 of them and break it into 2 groups. So now let's fill it out. 7 equals, so 7 broken down into 2 groups is, my group 1 has, let's count them, 1, 2, 3, 4. My group 2 has 1, 2, 3. Around the tree, around the tree. That's how we make a 3. All right, so now we did 4 plus 3 here. So how can I break apart 7 a different way? Let's draw our 7 counters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now I'm not going to circle a group of 4 or a group of 3. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to start and I'm going to circle 1 because that's a different number than I used over here. Then I need to draw my group 2 circle and use the rest of the counters and make sure they're all in a group. Now let's write our equation. So 7 equals group 1 plus group 2. Group 1 has how many? How many does it have, Brooks? 1. Great job, friend. 1 plus, how many is in group 2? Let's count them. Ready, friends? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 7 also equals 1 plus 6. 2 different ways we can break down 7. Now let's look down here. We're going to do the same thing for 6. How can we decompose 6? We're going to draw counters to show 2 different ways to break it apart. So just like we did up here, we need to use different groups for each of these equations. So let's start with 6. Let's draw our 6 counters first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now we're going to break it into 2 groups. Let's draw our group 1 circle. Oops. Group 2 circle.
Anyone available to help with car line?
Group 1.
The middle school cafe.
Group 2. If you don't want to do the same as me here, that is okay. If you already know what you're doing and you want to go ahead and make your group 1 and group 2, that is okay. Let's see here. My group 1 has 1, 2. So I'm going to write that. Group 1 plus group 2. My group 2 has 1, 2, 3, 4. Write my group 4. So 6 equals 2 plus 4. That was what I did here. Next, I want a different way. So just like we used different numbers in the equations up here when we broke apart 7, here I want different numbers when we break apart 6. So go ahead and remember, you're going to do this one on your own. I want to see that you can do it by yourself. Draw your 6 counters. I'm giving you a minute. Draw your 6 counters. Then you need to draw your circles to make your group 1 and group 2. Then complete the equation, right? You've got 6 equals. Fill in your group 1 plus group 2. When you're all done with that, make sure you turn it in or you get your teacher to check it. Good job, my friends. We are done with our 6-7 work. I will see you next time.